Hey Taylor, this is Alexa Peterson. I'm going to be doing the swing analysis for you. Over here to the right, I have Mookie Betts. He's one of the best hitters in the MLB and is able to hit for both average and power, despite only being 5'9", 185 pounds, where most MLB hitters are over 6 foot and well over 200 pounds. So he's just a great example of like good movements in the lower half and then how his upper half works as well. So we're going to be comparing your swings. Just know you don't have to do exactly like how he does. As you can tell, like he has a different starting stance. That's totally fine. And when I was watching your load and stride, that all looked already like that looked totally fine. So we're just going to check and see what you look like, your body moving after you get to launch position. So you guys have a little different loads. You get to the good launch position. Some things that we really want to see that I see in your swing as well is knob down towards the catcher, right in that range. You'll see some variance with that with some hitters, but generally down towards the catcher. Front shoulder slightly lower than the back shoulder in that launch position. Good hip hinge right there where the eyes are essentially over the toes. Some bend in the front knee, good distance between the feet, well balanced. You'll see he's a little bit on his backside, a little bit there, but in general we don't want to be really far on our backside or way on our front side there. So we see those same similar things, the knob kind of down towards the catcher, front shoulder down and in. Something else too is your hands are back by your back foot, meaning that like bottom hand elbow is greater than 90 degrees. That helps create that big separation that we want to have. It's a lot of stretch and a lot of potential energy that can then be turned into kinetic energy when you start to actually move towards the ball. Great distance between your feet, good bend in your front knee. You have hip hinge here, I can tell. So overall, your launch position is great. That looks phenomenal there. And then your very first move is your bat to get on plane with your lower half rotating really well, working out. So what you're doing, very first move is awesome. I love it. Your back foot is getting, starting to become weightless as you get closer to contact. That's what we see over here as well. Mookie Betts actually gets his back foot a little bit more weightless sooner. It's pretty uncommon to see that early of a back foot weightless, but he's able to have that work for him, and it's still weightless at contact all the way through there. So you can see his lower half turning in his barrel, then coming towards the ball after his hips start. And so that's what we see with you. On lower pitches, the only thing really I can see is right about here. You see your bottom hand elbow ends up locking out a decent amount. And so you end up kind of having a little bit steeper, maybe less strong position at contact point because this bottom hand is getting pretty locked out. And this is a pitch that's just above the knees a little bit. But you can see he still has some bend in his bottom hand elbow right there as he goes towards the ball. So you can just see it from here. You see that bottom elbow kind of extending or locking out. And it's very slight, but it can have an effect on your power and being able to stay through the zone and good contact point and everything. So on lower pitches, what we want to really see is that you just get down there with your hip hinge and allow your barrel to continue to work behind the ball instead of kind of going straight to it. Because it looked as though on a lot of your low pitches, you were having a low launch angle. And I think that has to do because you end up just not trusting it, kind of just taking your hands a little bit to it by locking out that elbow. Get down there with your hip hinge like you are, but trust that you're going to get down there with that elbow being bent. Maybe you have to get a little bit more hip hinge a little bit sooner, because right here you can kind of see you don't quite create as much hip hinge as you need to get yourself on track for this low of a pitch. This is below your knees, and if you're going to go for it, we want to hit those. We can hit those out of the park. We can hit those deep balls to the outfield fence. We want to make sure we stay away from those ground balls. And so that very first movement, and this could just come down to pitch recognition, that type of thing, but very first move right here, when you've recognized that this is a low pitch, we got to create a little bit more hip hinge and then not just push out with that bottom hand elbow. But if we look at your other swings here, take a look at some of these others. So that's better there. You don't lock out that bottom hand elbow. It's a great, just overall great swing. I love it. I ran your swing by Matt as well, and he had nothing really to say. He just said that this looks great. He loves it. So the only other thing besides that bottom hand elbow just needs to have a little bit of work on it, and I think you'll be good to go. So You can see this movement here, like I said, a little bit of bend on that bottom hand elbow as you go for lower pitches. Scoot ahead here. Here's a higher pitch, just so you can kind of see the differences here. On a high pitch, we want our barrel to become more flat. So that front elbow has to get flatter here. Whoops. Has to get flatter here, which allows that barrel to get flat with that elbow working more down. And still the hips turning the barrel. We don't want to push our hands to it. That's a pitch above his belt there. So overall, like I said, you have a really good swing. Your hips are working really well. Your sequence as well of your hips, and then your hands are going towards the ball just a little bit on those lower pitches. You see that kind of locking out right there, and that bottom hand elbow starts to run ahead a little bit. So I'm going to give you some bat path drills to do. Something else that we're probably going to be adding to the hitting vault when we do another like video shoot for drills, so I'll just tell you about it now because I think it'll be beneficial for you, is to actually get, there's like a small ball, I don't know, a little bit smaller than a basketball that they sell at just Walmart for like $2. You can actually put that in between your elbow right there, so it'd sit just right there, and you'll be a little bit closer. You won't be able to be as stretched out, but then go to your launch position, pause your launch position, and then turn and hit and stop right at contact. And I want you to keep the ball in between your elbow right there, and then that's going to help you just kind of feel what that feels like to turn, and have the tee set up on a lower spot, so that you can practice that good hip hinge and turning with the hip hinge to get down there versus just extending that bottom hand elbow. That's a drill we don't have currently in the hitting vault, but we're probably going to be adding that when we do the next video shoot. And then I'll give you some other bat path drills to do as well. Some other things to kind of take into account: your mental side. How are you in the box? Do you have a good mental approach, a plan? How do you deal with failure? That type of stuff. That's a huge piece of the game. You can have a perfect swing, and if you aren't mentally tough and have a plan and stick to it and execute it, then you're not going to be successful. So one of my favorite books to read is Mind's Gym by Gary Mack. You can just get it on Amazon for like $10, $12. And that's a great book that kind of touches on all aspects of the mental side of the game. So you can use that. The chapters are like 5 pages long, so if there's a section that really speaks to you that you need to work on, you can tab that, go back and read through that during the summer or whenever you're going through some games and struggling a little bit. Other things I would check in on are your diet, making sure you're eating enough protein, tons of vegetables, and good healthy carbs like quinoa, sweet potatoes, that type of stuff, and eating enough so that your body can keep getting stronger. Water intake should be about the same ounces that you are body weight wise. So say you're 130 pounds, your goal should be to try to drink 130 ounces of water a day. And I get that's a lot, but that's going to just kind of fuel your body, let everything work the right way, without you being unknowingly slightly dehydrated. That can have an effect on you. And then amount of sleep that you're getting. Don't be getting any less than 8.5 hours of sleep. That's going to help you with your concentration, your overall recovery. All of that will be crucial for you. And then if you haven't already started weight training program, I suggest doing the Swing Fit Elite program or doing something specific to softball, going and seeing a specific trainer. That would be really great for you to be doing deadlifts, shoulder stability, knee stability, all of that. Start that now if you haven't already, because that's going to help your swing just keep getting stronger and better. And obviously some agility and stuff, but we don't want to be going on mile runs. That's going to be training different muscles than what we need in softball, which is fast, quick, explosive for a short period of time. So so I'd say you're right on the right track. Love your swing, keep it going. Just fix a little bit with that bottom hand elbow on those low pitches, and I think you're going to be good to go. So just let us know if you have any questions about this or just going forward. Feel free to send us some video. After you've feel like you fixed it a little bit, you can shoot me a video in an email, and I can just give you some pointers from there. Or you can get follow-up swing analysis later on, and we can do a full swing analysis that way. But so we're always here for you guys, and just keep working hard, and good luck.